Dear students, welcome to the course Introduction to Academic Writing. In this first video, I would like to give you a few basic practical tips, such as how you can plan your academic paper and how to find a suitable topic. You are already familiar with the structure of the course. Have a look at this video before you go to your first class. That way you'll be sure to get the most out of it. In principle, you actually need two tools in order to write your first successful university-level academic paper. You need to be well organized, and you also need creative ideas. But ultimately, with the right attitude, approach and sufficient time, this is something that any one of you can learn. So let's start with organization and time management. My first recommendation is clear. Make a schedule with deadlines. Here you can see an example of how a schedule could look like. Since you have a hard deadline for submission, be sure to begin the process in good time and set your priorities. Make a rolling plan so that you can see how far you've come, take stock and adjust the plan if necessary. It's also a good idea to define and plan daily small work steps. Don't focus on the fact that you have to fill 10 pages, text pages with content and wonder how you are going to do that. Instead, plan smaller daily work steps. Say, today I'm going to write half a page with good content and wording that I can really use. I'm satisfied with this half page, with the section or subsection of my academic paper. And you'll see that's really possible. Anyone can write half a page in a day, so try to break it up and manage your time in a good way. You might be familiar with some of the most popular learning techniques, like the Pomodoro technique, which is quite well known, and I really recommend that you use learning techniques to structure your work for each day. Write or work for 30-minute learning phase. I recommend 30 minutes, making sure that all your devices are shut off and out of sight, so that you don't get distracted. Focus on your task for 30 minutes and then take a 5 minutes break. Relax, stretch, eat something, get a drink, but be sure not to check your mobile phone. That won't energize you for the next work phase. Take a real break and then focus again on your work for 30 minutes. And you will see a lot of students work productively with that method. It's not a matter not just to work for long, undefined periods of time. It's rather to really concentrate during a specific period of time. This technique is really a big productivity boost. Yeah, just try it out. So now let's talk about finding the right topic that has more to do with creativity. But of course you have to read a lot. We don't expect you to discover new findings. This isn't about rocket science. In your first paper, the important thing is that you demonstrate to us that you have studied research material and you can process and summarize arguments from research literature. That you can formulate a research question and answer it. So from a research point of view, it's not about new insights, but more about how to state and investigate a research question and shed some light on what the existing research literature has to say about the topic. This means, of course, that being able to read and interpret the content of the literature is very important. We distinguish between 3 types of reading. First, there's in-depth reading, second, scan mode reading, and third, scanning or glance-through reading or skimming. In-depth reading is, for example, when you read a research article very attentively, you think about the content and you understand it very well. I recommend that you read the 3 example texts that you receive from your course instructor, from your coach on StudyNet very carefully. Take notes about each one. You can even make a mind map about what the main points of the text were, write down the terminology the author used in the article. So use the articles and don't try to figure out your own research question just yet from the start. Just put yourself in the position of a reader and focus on understanding and expressing the essential content of the articles and try to structure the topic. A second step is to try scanning the text, seeing what the general information about the topic is, and getting an overall idea about what might interest you. By reading the content in scan mode and using digital search strategies, you can get a good general idea about the kind of literature that's available and how many sources you can find. See if you can find another 10 or 15 sources that could offer interesting information. Skimming goes one step further. When you glance through a text or skim, you take a look at the text you have scanned, but don't read it in as much detail as you read the first text. You just try to get an idea about the basic themes and try to recognize the central theme, and perhaps also take a look at the summary. Take notes about the text you can scan and skim too. You can work with a mind map as well. That's really a very good technique. So all these strategies can help you find your topic. You might also have your own personal search strategies about a topic. Let's say the topic is social networks. Maybe you have experience booking a room with Airbnb, or I guess you are familiar with social network platforms like Instagram or Facebook. You have personal experience with them and ideas that you can incorporate. You can also use interpersonal strategies, conversations with other students about their ideas on the topic and what they would find interesting. You can look at Kontext HSG at our university, maybe and for example, we have a sharing platform, or maybe you have one of your friends or family members have personal context with someone who works at a company that is relevant to your topic, provide you with some insights, cases that would be useful for your work. It gives you some insights, what might be interesting. So in the beginning, it is very helpful to see if meta search can provide results or inspiration. So use digital strategies. Go to the library and you can find there data banks, the library meta search, a good source when you are looking for topics. You can use Google Scholar to see what kind of results you get when you enter a given topic or question. But please don't use Google. Google is much too broad. You need to try to limit your sources from the outset and find out what really good research literature is. Google Scholar, you just type in Google Scholar, googlescholar.com, is a great tool for this. It only shows the research literature and limits your search. Meta, or have a look in the library. You can access at home via the internet the meta search. Have a look too at the video tutorial from the library about meta search. It's an excellent tool, and it's relatively simple, almost as easy as Google. If you enter a keyword or a key phrase, a certain term that you are researching, you are already searching within the field of research literature and seeing what is out there that is relevant and useful. So, create mind maps here too. This is a very good technique for creativity, and you can use the mind map to think about what you could write about your topic. How could the basic outline or structure look? What are the possible subheadings? If you start working in a structured way from the get-go, it's really going to help you down the road. You are actually writing the paper when you are creating the sections and subsections and developing your arguments to answer your research question. So, to sum up, here are again my tips. First, I spoke about making a plan for writing your research paper and being well organized. So time management is really key. Start in good time, structure your day, read through the fact sheet and become familiar with what is formally required and what is required in terms of format. For instance, the length of the text should be about 10 pages, line spacing, things like that. Don't put yourself under a lot of pressure to produce content every single day. For you and for us as researchers, taking a break for thought and contemplation is very important. After you've have read a piece of literature, you often need to take some time to think about it, to let it percolate in your mind. This is time used productively too. And next, I spoke about how to develop creativity, how to come up with creative ideas. Start with in-depth reading using the 3 articles you received. You have a relatively short amount of time, so you need to be pragmatic about what you do. Use this to define and narrow down your topic with the various techniques. What topic could you realistically deal with in that time frame? Work with mind maps. See how they help you design and develop, structure your idea. And check to make sure that you find enough literature, enough source material for your ideas. Do a reality check. You don't have a lot of time and you need to recognize fairly quickly if you can handle a certain topic within that period of time. In the library, we really have very qualified and helpful staff. They are more than happy to help you if you have any problems to find your information with the meta search. So once you have defined your topic, finding the research question is the next step. So the second video deals with the question how to formulate an appropriate research question. Thank you very much for watching.